Okay, Daniel, we're here on the Livestock Electronics booth, and you've got 3 new modules to show us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I have 3 new modules. As with most of my modules, I really like to work with utilities. So the first module I have is this one. It's a sequencer. So it's a sequencer for 6 channels. So you have some mute buttons here. And each channel has 4 outputs that can be assigned to be basically anything you want when it comes to CV outputs. So I could, for instance, select a step here and assign it to be a gate or a note, arpeggio, trigger, synced LFO, free LFO, ADSR or AD envelope. And each of these parameters has specific settings you can change. So for instance, the gate has swing, length, repeat, which is similar to ratcheting, and a chance. So you have probability for gates and triggers as well.
Can it be like per step what the output is? Okay,
you can have these settings just in general. So maybe you have a system that is always like the same. And you can say, okay, my first 4 outputs, I want them to be all drums. So you have just 4 triggers, and then the second one maybe some chords. So first one gate, and then the other one pitch. But you can even change that per step. So if you really want to go nuts, you could have like it go like LFO, envelope, envelope, LFO, and yeah, really get some weird sequences going. So maybe I'm ready with my sequence. I can go into this mode, and I can see the bars change. So it will follow as you sequence it. And here you can set different parameters when it comes to sequencing the patterns. In total, you can have 16 bars, which means that you have 256 steps per pattern. So you can really get some build-ups going while you're playing. And again, the mute buttons are available. Then finally, you can program it, but you can also play sequences. Because sometimes, of course, you don't want to program, but you have something in your mind, you just want to play. So that's possible as well. Finally, you have different patterns that you can save. So let's say I have a pattern that I really enjoy. I can press load and press there, and you have your pattern saved. Now I can just start playing with these patterns, and for these functions, you can also have different algorithms going. So maybe you wanted to play once, play in a loop, play the next when it's done. Yeah, so it's you have a lot of options there.
So how many kind of patches can you save?
In total, you have 256 patterns per live set, which is divided into 16 patterns per track, so 16 tracks then. But you can also say back up on the SD card and have different live sets that you can retrieve. So basically endless.
Excellent. And you've got 2 other modules,
yeah.
right?
So this is the Ellis. It's a microcontroller. The idea with this one was that I want to create a module that allowed me to create presets for other modules. The idea is that if a module in your system has a CV input, you can create a preset for it with this module. How it works is that it has 8 outputs here, and these are all volts per octave. I can select a preset here, which are highlighted in green, and then there's another side which is red. So I can have on the green side the first preset, on the right side I have the second preset, and then I can go from green to red with the knob. This is similar to the Octatrack crossfader, so that's where the inspiration came from. So it's morphing from one to another preset. Then when you press it, you can also have it morph from one to another, so you don't really need the 2 sides if you don't want it. You can also use it just on one side. This can also be sequenced like this, just insert it here. Make sure you unmute the kick drum, and then it's sequencing for you.
So sequencing through kind of the presets.
Through the presets.
Exactly, yeah.
Now these are just 8 presets, but you have different banks, so in total you can have up to 64 presets. Now let's say I want to change a preset. I just press the edit button, press here. These are now the 8 outputs that I can change, and then start to change the values. These are shown in pitch data, so you can create chords if you want. So now basically it became a keyboard for chords. When you press,
And as you've got 8 outputs, you could essentially build up 8 chords. Okay.
like 8 voice chords.
Yeah, you'd have to have 8 oscillators,
Yeah,
8 VCAs,
yeah.
8 filters, but yeah, we get it. Yeah, nice.
If you have them, you can do it. Yeah. And then there's a trigger gate output. So when I press, wait, let me show you here. This is my envelope here. When I press, you see that the envelope is triggered. So then you can use it with the chords together. Also,
So basically every time it switches preset, it will send a trigger.
exactly,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
And then finally there's a transpose CV input. So you could say like, okay, I want a minor 7 here, major 7 there, and then you can transpose it to the root note of the chord. Or you can just have the entire chord with the root note in there. Depends on how you like to work.
And then you've got an envelope module.
Yeah,
right?
it's a Leap. It's actually an envelope and an LFO at the same time. So on one side you have the envelope output here, and the other one is the LFO there. So if I have the envelope and I press here, you just see a normal ADSR. But what makes this different is that for the envelope you have a attenuverter here, and you have DC offset, which can go negative or positive. So if I do like this, it's a normal envelope. But when I change this into negative attenuversion and add DC offset, it becomes a ducking envelope. So you can get like some side chaining effects with that. The envelope stages are CV controllable with the inputs here, and you can also attenuvert those CV inputs. There's a knob here for exponential to linear to long linear. And then you have the LFO side, which you simply just go to by pressing this button. Then you have the frequency for the LFO, then frequency modulation, which is the envelope modulating the pitch of the LFO, and then the amplitude modulation. So when I press now, you will see that the pitch and the amplitude of the LFO is modulated. You have offset for the LFO and different waves. So you basically have all the standard waves, sine wave, sawtooth, 2 triangles, square wave with pulse width, and random as well. And because it's in the end it's simply an oscillator being modulated by an envelope, you can also use it as a kick drum, which I have here. And that's it for Leap.
So when are you kind of hoping to have the modules kind of ready?
Probably after the summer. Leap and Ellis are pretty much done. Just need some debugging and some more testing. Shepherd needs some more love, but it should happen after the summer.
Okay, excellent. And do you have a kind of price on those, or like a rough guide?
Yeah. So the Shepherd will be $650, including VAT. This one $260, and this one $200.
Okay, excellent. Daniel, thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you.